if you don't involve and win the support of those people who will have to implement the solution, you may encounter insurmountable resistance. So when we think of collaboration, we can think of collaboration in terms of teams. We can think of collaboration in terms of business units with multiple teams working together. We can also think of collaboration across business units, which is starting to become a company-wide approach. And then if we take a very broad perspective of collaboration, we can extend it out to working with partners of the organization, working with online communities, using things like open source software and crowdsourcing, where we're gathering information from multiple sources. So collaboration can be very, very focused on the immediate team, and it can also be broadened very, very wide to beyond the company. Whichever the focus is of collaboration, we need to keep in mind the three important behaviors of the collaborative leader. And in fact, not just the collaborative leader, but these are good competencies for anyone who wants to demonstrate great collaboration. Big picture thinking, involving others, and being accountable. If you remember those three circles in the funnel, they have to work together. Remember, too, that only 16% of the high-performing leaders were able to demonstrate all three at a high level. So that has to be the goal. If we understand the DISC behaviors and an individual's strengths and challenges in terms of collaborating, it can really help us to pull strong collaboration and strong teams together. So high-D strengths revolve around seeing the big picture, being accountable for driving results. However, there may be challenges in terms of the high-D's competitiveness and impatience, which can alienate others rather than involving them. The high I is likely to be great at involving others and helping to sell others on the big picture. A high I challenge may be that they are not always objective, can get emotionally involved, and find it hard to demand accountability from others. The high steadiness behavior is likely to be great at including and involving others and making them feel a valuable part of the team. The high S challenge may be that they do not always express themselves enough. They're thinking, but they're not always speaking up, and they may not be prepared to take a stand for what they want or believe in. They may also be slightly lenient on accountability, as they don't want to upset their team members or their partners in collaboration, the other stakeholders. High C is likely to approach goals and accountability in a factual manner with a strong skill in monitoring progress to hold others accountable and using metrics and numbers to monitor. They may be sometimes too focused on the nitty-gritty and not always focused on the big picture. In involving others, they will ensure that people have information. However, they may not delegate enough, which can create trust issues. So if you're trying to build collaboration on a team, you can take the profiles and work with the team in terms of the DISC factors, have people share their collaborative strengths, and then maybe jot down a couple of their areas of challenge. This particular slide we'll have available for you tomorrow as a handout. And now the real fun starts, because for the rest of the webinar, we're going to get you involved in thinking and doing. So enough of me talking, and let's get on to some poll questions and start to apply our knowledge. The next few questions are all about the collaborative leader. Before we go to the poll, there's a little question for you, a little teaser at the bottom, a DISC refresher. And it's just a quick question. What is the basic combination for Peter's profile, and what is the one word to sum this up? So we're just bringing in some of our DISC knowledge here. So as you look at Peter's profile, what you should have got as the basic combination is D over S. D being the highest and primary factor, and S being the lowest factor. Basic combination involves the highest, then a line or over, S. And the one key word for D over S is drive. And it's all about accomplishing things in a hostile environment. Now, if you're wondering where to get this information from, if you go into your PPA manual, you'll find it under the job analysis section of your manual. These are basic combinations for the job, but they're also very nice to use when you're evaluating and trying to sum up what an individual's natural strength is. Okay, so we're going to give you a couple of minutes to read the question. What we're trying to identify here are the two collaboration strengths that are unlikely to apply to Peter. So you've got to come up with two letters. You've got choices of A through E, and you're going to choose two that are not likely to be strengths for Peter. So we're going to give you a minute to read this through and work this out. We're going to open the poll. So remember, you're dealing with a D over S. Peter is a very driven profile, and you have to pick the two strengths that are unlikely to be collaborative strengths for Peter. Couple more seconds, and then we're going to close this poll question. Okay, so let's see how we did. The answers to the question are C and E. So everybody got C right. So way to go, folks. That was really great answers. E was your next best question, and I can see why B could get in the way. So you're not entirely wrong with B. A and C, A and D, wonderful. Everybody realized that those would be natural strengths for Peter. Let's go back to B and E. Encouraging and enjoying diverse viewpoints. Peter, our high D leader, is likely to be impatient for results, may be opinionated, and knows that he or she knows best. Maybe thinks about discussing and gathering viewpoints as a bit of a waste of time. Now, in terms of B, the high D generally doesn't like to compromise. The one time they will is to get a result. So that answer would be a very good second answer, but to be truly correct to the DISC questions and the DISC styles, C and E are the right questions. So give yourself a little pat on the back if you got that right, and let's move on to Jillian, who's another leader who is trying to be collaborative. And in this particular situation, you are coaching Jillian, and you want her to be more collaborative, and so does she. What two coaching points are likely to have the most benefit to develop her? So once again, A to E, where are you going to find Jillian most successful? And obviously we play to that. But where are the 2 points that you want to optimize on possibly her weaknesses? Just before you get started, another quick DISC refresher. Jillian is an SCI profile. If you remember naming the profiles, one way of naming the profiles is the basic combination, which we did for Peter. But this time we're naming the 3 high factors, or the 2 high factors, or the 1 high factor that the individual has in their graph 3 in order. So the S is the highest, the C is next, and then the I. So Jillian is an SCI profile. In terms of her communication strengths, if you go back to your DISC knowledge, S likes to listen, C likes to write or document, and I likes to sell and